That's great.
It is, of course, queued up.
Yep.
And away we go.
Welcome to Everyone Racers,
a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture.
It doesn't matter what kind of limit champ or lucky track dog league you run.
SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate.
As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself.
Join us each week for tech discussions, tips,
tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of amateur endurance racing.
And whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough, and Chrissy,
and I give you just the tip.
Oh, I hit stop too early again. I apologize.
For sure, you'll learn a little and learn some and whatever. Everyone, report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Mental.
And this is our first show. Welcome, please, and thank you. We had to I won't even tell you what we had to do already today. But actually, I lie.
This is everyone bad comparatively.
Yeah, come on.
And you have a degree in radio and television communications.
A normal jank, which is excess for most people. We're Everyone Racers. Welcome to this 8-bit show. I'm sorry, not our first show. It's episode 256. Goodness gracious. Or 2 to the 8th power. Thank you for joining us. Let's get right to it.
Jeff's operating an 8-bit computer tonight.
That's right.
Or brain.
Yeah.
My finger was hovering over the button, and all of a sudden it just went. I was like, I didn't touch that.
I swear.
It's like I'm not touching you.
I never pushed the button early. I'm
not touching you. I'm not touching you.
Only tonight.
Come on. Okay. Jeff, what are you working on?
We just got back from the Thompson race. So I was unpacking and returning trucks and trailers and RVs because I had never returned the Boy Scout trailer from camp the week prior, and then like the RV was living in front of my house, so I had to like take care of all of that business. And since then I've been sleeping in the guest room because the whole house has COVID but me. Yeah, I went to a race and left my family sick at home. They love
quarantined. You quarantined.
What else they're gonna do? Yeah.
At the place where you could do the most good.
That's right. That's what I've been doing. And then going back to work, of course. No big deal. What's you working on, Chris?
Well, a bunch of stuff after race. Chris will go through some of that. I did a post race on the Mazda, cleaned it up a bit. The two things that were bothering me at the end of the race was it wasn't running quite right, like not bad, but not quite right. And also there was some kind of rotational noise I thought coming from the right rear. So gave it all a once over. In the right rear, the caliper seems to be binding up a little bit. So I think that's probably the rotational noise, as the caliper wasn't ever releasing all the way. And that caliper is original to the car with 256,000 miles on it. So it's time. I'll replace that one. I have a used one downstairs, so that'll go on. I did a compression test on the motor just because I hadn't done one in a long time. I found a fair amount of oil down the spark plug wells from the Mazda Valdez incident because it got down in the valve cover and around the coil. So that might have
expected, right?
Right. But that can't have been helping things in running the running well department. Did a compression test, cylinder number 1, 200, cylinder number 3, 200, cylinder number 4, 175, cylinder number 3, 175, cylinder 4, 200. So not that bad.
I'll take that.
And when I put some oil down, it came up to 190. So
I retract my ooh.
Not that bad. Acceptable if it's a 100,000 mile motor and it just got being beaten on for a long time. Then tonight I washed the NSX, or we washed the NSX and Mercedes and vacuumed and whatnot. And I would have washed Cadillac too, but we had to do a show. So
that's a time commitment. That Cadillac's really large.
Yeah, it is.
And I even said, like, we don't wash our SUV truck type things. We never, I think we wash the sub, besides in the winter, maybe 3 times.
Yeah, in the winter it goes through the car wash to get the salt off of it.
Right.
But
hence why it's still living.
But this is nicer. So
yeah, it is nicer. And it gets
sub was also GM disappearing dirt brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was really wonderful.
Absolutely was.
Couldn't tell.
What is the name of that color? Beige.
Kind of.
But it was light. It's like a lighter
burnt
beige. I don't know.
Sienna.
Everyone knows exact. It's like a dark silver, a light. I don't know.
Kind of brownish silver though.
Yeah, exactly.
I like beige.
Well, it's not your truck
Awesome.
anymore. Although
up next on Everyone Colors.
Sandalwood.
That's probably it.
But speaking of the truck, I did give it Earhart's when I saw it because it was Thompson's.
I was
Yeah,
going to
I
say,
was driving-
we did see the
It was
new
a-
owners.
It was a little confusing when the driver.
They love it.
drove by.
Yep, and
Yes.
Jess is leaving. Jeff's like, "Hey, Chris, someone's stealing your truck." So,
pretty much every time it went by.
Yep,
The joke
pretty
that
much.
didn't get old.
Yep.
Yeah.
And people came over and they're like, "Why is your truck over there?" It's like Steve was like, "Is that your truck?
what's it doing over there? Yeah, yeah.
Not in the right spot at all."
Nope.
Okay. Well,
Great. Chrissy, you want to fill in what else we've been
sure.
working on?
Well, last week we were packing and then we went racing and drove to the race and then we died from some heat. We'll talk about that in a little while. And then of course unpacking. So Monday night after being sleep deprived and it was 97 degrees outside, unpacked the car. And then of course I haven't mowed the lawn in 3 weeks. So there's that. Yeah. So and then cleaning up all the crap. And then I would help Chris wash the cars tonight. So house is looking much better than it has been in a while. Also because I decided to drop a can of Diet Coke while I was putting it in the fridge
No.
straight down while the door was open. So
Ooh.
not only did it go all over myself, every inch of my kitchen, all of my fridge as well, because it shot into my kitchen. So that made me clean up my kitchen quicker because I had to wash the floor twice. Anyway, Mental, what have you been doing?
My life is pale in interest compared to you guys. I have been redoing, I told you guys last week I was working on the heater core and I ordered new heater core hoses from the firewall to the engine block. And because
Which car was this?
the Volvo, the T5.
Volvo, okay.
And I literally spent 2 nights trying to get one of those hoses from the firewall back onto its pipe on the engine block. Infuriating. And it was just, you can't get 2 hands in there. You couldn't even really get 1 hand in there. And I am trying everything. And I would catch myself starting to get frustrated and start wanting to do stupid things like take more stuff off. And I would stop and just go inside. And ultimately I managed to get it on by doing the infamous, I got your nose trick and using my knuckles to force the hose back onto there. So I got that done. Tomorrow I should be getting it registered. And that has been my quiet existence.
Great.
So were you driving it like on the other guy's plates or were you just not
No,
driving it?
No, I just don't have, well, I haven't been driving it because the cooling system's out of it. Prior to that-
Oh, the cooling system was out. I just thought you weren't.
Well, the heater core came out while I'm doing the heater core. That was the whole thing about the while you're in there itis. So I went ahead and I'm like, I ain't doing this but once. And so I replaced the hoses that were coming from the firewall. I replaced the heater core, new gaskets, all this other kind of stuff, pulled the carpet out, power washed it,
Yeah.
all of that.
For some reason, my
The
mind
cooling
just
system.
assumed you looped it and drove without a heater AC.
Well, fair assumption, but
Yeah.
cooling
system in Nevada seems to be an important thing.
Probably. You're right.
The cooling system, but it was this close to just getting a routed pipe. Not going to have a heater at all. The heck with it. There's a guy I work with. He's got an old Mercury Marquis, the Panther Pico, or not the Pico, but the Panther chassis.
Yeah.
And his heater core went out and he took one look at how far up in the dash it was. Nope. Cut him
Don't
at the
need that.
firewall, ran a those there. He has no heater. He's fine. He's got another car he can get to work. Ain't nobody got no time for that.
I mean, it's not that cold that often. So
It gets cold
Suck
when
it
you go
up.
up in the mountains, though, don't
In the-
you? I mean,
yeah, but
Yeah.
like in the
So you-
mornings, it might be a little chilly, but you okay, wear a coat.
Or take your other car.
that's true. News and notes time. Oh, I did it
Cool.
just as
It's blue. Yep.
I apologize. All right, folks. The new wrap-up video for High Plains, the first High Plains is out and Gingerman will soon be out. And while you're waiting for the spring Gingerman race to come on out, head on over to the drive and read Judge Aaron Cole's latest contribution. He's also judging Audubon this weekend. It's about Lemons racer Jim Bist and the remote control electric cart he helped create for his son, Sam. Now, Sam is nearly 15, but he's battling cerebral palsy. And when Sam was younger, they used a remote control car, like basically one of those Power Wheels with an RC. But Sam's a racer and he wanted to go faster like all racers do. And initially, Jim thought it would be as simple as just taking an old go-kart and using the RC function from his Power Wheel to make it work on there. And then put an electric power and adult-sized racing seat and a cage on it. But as Aaron tells the story, it ended up being far more complicated, and as well as all the hurdles that he faced doing so. Now, luckily, he got support from the folks over at Detroit's M1 Concourse karting track and their nearby shop, PMD Automotive Garage, who was working on the fleet of electric karts for M1. Quote, "It was challenging for all the right reasons," said Heidecker, the CEO of PMD, adding, "All of us wanted to get Sam something he's never had before. With PMD's crew of 20 technicians, they worked through all of the safety concerns, design challenges, as well as the final approval from Sam's mother, Laura. The article is great, and I've seen this cart in person. So's the cart. It's worth your time." Links in our show notes.
Yeah, this looks fantastic. I hadn't seen this before. I am absolutely going to read the article right after the show.
It was quick. We were doing the little photo shoot while we're going around Gingerman, and if his dad gives it the full beans, that thing will blast right past the golf cart.
The stunt and exploding possibilities of this are nearly endless.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. The Myers Manx is back. Originally
I'm
produced
so
from
excited.
64 to 71 and many, many copies ever since. The Myers Manx off-roader has made its return, this time with an electric power train. The Myers Manx unveiled the Manx 2.0 Electric Monday evening as a reimagining of the original dune buggy that captured hearts in the 60s. The electric buggy is the first vehicle produced under the new leadership, which took control of the company shortly before designer Bruce Myers' passing. The 40 kilowatt battery, the largest of the two options, has a 300-mile range and promises 202 horsepower and 240 foot-pounds of torque. Still, the Manx 2.0 stays true to the monocoque chassis legacy of the original, making it light, only 1,650 pounds in the heaviest version, and strong on rough terrain. Also features independent rear suspension, regenerative braking. It's going to take most of the braking load. The first batch, totaling just 50 buggies, will ship in 2023 as part of a beta program. That looks fantastic. What better thing to keep at your house at the Hamptons or things like that, or Martha's Vineyard,
or your garage in Las Vegas? Because I would drive that thing to work.
Yeah.
I bet we'll see at least one in the Hamptons.
Yeah, those of you watching on the YouTube
Next
you
year,
can
yeah.
see them. They're
Oh
pretty
yeah,
fantastic.
right. Yes, absolutely. I get at least one.
This year, we're
okay.
just going to see every new Land Rover Defender.
We're gonna ding so much ding.
Yeah.
All right, bad news for nearly 24,000 U.S. Ferrari owners. The company is recalling almost every car it's sold here since 2005 over a potential for brake failure. According to a national
big
highway,
deal.
no, it's not any
big
cars. And brake failure, who cares? You're not going very fast in these cars. According to a National Highway Traffic Safety Administration recall filing, a total of 23,555 Ferrari models sold in the U.S. are fit with a potential faulty brake fluid reservoir cap that may not vent pressure adequately. This can lead to a vacuum in the reservoir, potentially causing brake fluid to leak. If the brake fluid reservoir runs dry, it can lead to a total brake failure. Ferrari estimates only 1% of the cars it's recalling are potentially affected. The fix is simple too: a brake fluid reservoir cap and a software update that provides a message in the gauge cluster warning drivers if brake fluid levels run dangerously low. Ferrari suggests that if anyone recalled their cars flash a low brake fluid warning, the driver should pull over immediately and have their car towed.
So
And everybody can laugh at them. Ha ha ha.
It's just the cap? That's really weird.
Yep.
18 years of production. That's impressive.
I think this is a scam by Ferrari
maybe
to get 24,000 cars back to the Ferrari dealers to have a once over while on the lift while replacing the brake cap.
You need an engine. When's the last time you had an engine out? It looks like that was done by a non-authorized Ferrari mechanic. Just so you know, we're going to avoid every single warranty.
Wow.
You think Ferraris have a warranty?
That's true.
I'm not a conspiracy
I bet
theory
they have
person,
some
but
warranty,
I'm
They have
with
some
Chris on
warranty,
this one.
yeah.
This just sound, hey, while you're here, why don't you head over to the gift shop?
I mean, pick the easiest, lowest time, cheapest thing to replace, but that everyone will do because it's safety, is the brake reservoir
Literally,
cap.
like unscrew the cap, put a new cap on, 27 seconds. Anyway, finally, the National Insurance Crime Bureau, that's NICB, has released their car theft data from 2021, showing the rate of stolen cars was up 8% from 2020 because no one drove their car anywhere in 2020. Other news, the Chevy Silverado has bumped the F-150 from the top spot. Of course, the Honda Civic and Accord are in the top 10, Camry, Corolla, all the usual suspects. In proof that criminals have no taste, the Altima is also in the top 10. What?
Seriously, that
Well,
has to be like that insurance or the
people who make
that rental
bad
car.
choices drive Altimas. People who make bad choices drive Altimas, crash them. People who make bad choices drive Altimas, crash them, and need to fix them super cheap, so they buy stolen parts.
You're not wrong here. The Jeep Cherokee is a new addition to the list. The NCIB also found that thefts tend to be regional. So in the upper Midwest, loves the American cars, Challenger, Charger at the top of the list in Michigan, Subarus being top nabbed car in Oregon. The recovery rate is 34%. Woo. But as the article states, if you own one of the cars listed, don't sweat it. The biggest correlation is the volume of cars sold. So Ford has sold 726,000 trucks last year, and it's the number one stolen vehicle. So imagine that. Honda, 263,000 Civics, and 10.5 million Honda Accords since their intro. So somebody's got to like divide this by the number of cars on the street and come up with like some real data. This sounds like a I say crappy statistics. Anyway,
87% of statistics on the internet are made up.
it's true. Yeah. Hey, speaking of Thompson, some of our friends got bumped up a class this weekend, and I thought I could help them out. Let me open this list here by finding on Racing Junk something that can help our new friends in B and A class survive their new class. How about?
Did you mean to find the SVT supercharger?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were 9 results for that on Racing Junk. Now, some of them were attached to cars, but I was honestly impressed.
Yeah, I wanted to show this one specifically because
what is it aside from a supercharger?
Okay, so yeah, so it's a polished
audio here
Ford
show.
SVT supercharger that I found on racingjunk.com. It is out of Troutman, North Carolina. It is blingy, and it comes with the throttle body and the plenum and the lower intake, and
you know that this is a serious gearhead because that polished supercharger is sitting on the dining room table for that photo.
The dining room table also has a tablecloth with little birdhouses and a really cute little, like I didn't even look at the thing it's selling. It's like I always look around.
I believe those are matching placemats. Those are placemats, which they thoughtfully put one of the superchargers on a placemat
on
their
not
dining room
scratch the table.
Wow,
yeah. But what I wanted to show you is how I found this. Was I went here and I it said early access.
Where's
I'm sorry.
here?
I went to this page on Racing Junk. I hit most recent ads, and it came up and it said early access, and I was like, early access? What does that mean? Oh, you need to be a club member for the benefits, which of course we are at Everyone Racers. So I was able to view the ad earlier than everyone else. So if I was looking for a SVT supercharger, I can see it. Others can't. Just a thought. You might want to join even if you're not selling things, because we know that you could place ads for free and you can look at all the ads for free on Racing Junk.
You could even add a search alert and use that early access.
That's right. So
those deals.
You can scoop those deals if you become a member of racingjunk.com. That's all I wanted to say.
Very well done.
Great.
It benefits the sellers because you can put in more pictures, and it benefits the buyers because you can get them in there early. But as always, looking and posting with one picture is free. Okay, Grace says.
Lemons is at Audubon. There are 66 cars, 5 BMWs. That's a good ratio.
That's
I like
that. Is a friggin' great ratio to be in that close
two
to Chicago.
Miatas. Two Miatas. 8 Hondas, 1 Porsche, and the usual Midwest suspects like Bad Decisions Racing with the Deluxe, the Bobcat, 98 Neon Hellcat, and all kinds of other random crappy American cars that you find in the Midwest. The rust will be strong with these ones.
Mhm.
And
Bobcat's a Mercury Bobcat, right?
correct.
Yes.
It's the fancy Pinto.
Fancy Pinto. Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Oh, God.
Now, Champ Car is headed up to Virginia International Raceway for the full 24. There are 73 cars running that. 24 of those are BMWs.
See, come on.
Boring.
That's
So
a third
boring.
boring.
15 Miatas. Still got
Still a
yeah.
lot.
I'm leaning on boring.
I mean, it's
9
more than half
Hondas.
the field is a BMW or a Miata.
Right.
So
9 Hondas, 6 Porsches, and this is the bit of a predictable list for that Champ Car race. One of those Miatas is the old Greg edition, so they're not
their team name?
completely. That's their.
So they
it's the
they're
old
fun, then.
Greg edition Miata. That's what they called it.
Okay. It can
they're gonna
only
drinking
be good
so
things.
much Baileys all weekend.
So there's a lot of mixed up bits at the bottom. It's like
Shoot.
got a suspension from some other things, you know,
Mhm.
mixed
Wow.
up bottom bits.
I see my downstairs mix up. Yeah.
It's like,
Uh,
yeah. Let's just go right to results and not even discuss those things. What happened out
Okay.
there?
Lemons is at Thompson. We're
Maybe
going
we're
to
there.
talk more about that later. Class C, great globs of oil in the Buick Opal Isuzu.
Woo!
Great job by Yuri and team. They beat all but one B-class car with their C-class.
Whoa.
Yes.
11
It was
my
like-
God.
I think it was
11th?
11th overall.
I believe it was
11th
11th overall.
It
And
just
that's a
went
legit C-class
round
car. Like that thing
and
is like there is
around
nothing
and
cheating on that thing.
around and around. And
Well
around.
done, Yuri.
And
Outstanding.
they wheeled it. Yeah, they did a phenomenal job. Class B was Ruptured Duck in their V6 Accord Coupe, the only car to beat the Buick Opal Isuzu Gemini Cadet.
And
Overall
probably
was,
should be a car anyway.
oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Overall was Momrath again, and everyone chanted penalty laps because it's time.
she
IOE
brought
was
two competitive cars this weekend, didn't she?
No,
No,
only one
she-
was
she
hers.
brought
It was
one
like
in.
a friend's
Okay.
Yeah.
hanger-ons.
And yep. IOE Tuna Chuckers in their 60s Volvo Amazon, another car that just went around and around and
it's
around
true.
and around.
And had a
Great.
great painting of Charlie Tuna on the side of it.
Looks
That's awesome.
phenomenal. Heroic Fix's Brooklyn Bomb Squad and their Volkswagen Rabbit. They apparently exhausted the supply of early Volkswagen water-cooled head gaskets in the New England area. Just kept doing more head gaskets. That's sure that'll fix it. I got screwed was
Never
the
the head
Dodge
gasket.
Monaco, who also bought a terrible motor and didn't work because it's hard to find 70s Dodge stuff in New England because it's all gone. Road Mangler Cup, Corky Racing in their Mazda Miata. This is apparently the third time they have won this. He guy says, I can't even use them up as fast as I keep winning them because it's a Miata.
That's awesome. WRL was at High Plains. The NPO ones, those little tiny prototype things, they dominated. Moving on.
In the world of not so boring, Hell on Wheels rally happened over. That was in California, right? Winner on
Yes.
points. First place was the SLO Reality Volvo 740, slow reality, I guess. Second place was Ramblin' Man in a 1959 Rambler Super. Do we know what
That
is?
was with the that's the visible bottom car that you can see
Oh,
the
okay.
road
Oh,
going.
the clear bottom boat. And third place was the Cordoba, Chrysler Cordoba. So
Standing.
that's awesome. And yeah, good luck out there to all you rally competitors. I didn't even know it was happening, so I missed the Instagram. I don't know. what else.
You're the one that made the announcement on last week's show and went through.
I know,
all
but
of
I
the
didn't. I was busy racing. I didn't.
I
didn't click the.
There's some
Instagrams at
there's some
all.
good stuff. The team that is out here, they're now 301 penal code, but they've got this danged old dirt track Camaro that they raced last this spring. I saw them at Thunderhill, and they had already prepped their van for a Scooby-Doo, and she brought her sons along and had one of them dressed like Velma and the other one dressed like Fred. She was doing the Daphne thing. They had a stuffed dog. They had the whole mystery machine going on. It was really, really well done.
Well, follow #Lemons Rally. And
On the
you'll see
gram,
all
you can
on
see
the
all the
gram, and you'll see all the
mayhem.
pictures. Yep.
Had a conversation with Jeff Stobbs, Rally Master, and there are some changes planned for that West Coast Rally next year. let's just say you might want to be closer to my house.
Nice. I'm just looking at pictures now. They look cool. Anyway,
This is excellent podcasting. Well done. You're reading the story. You're on
time.
the Instagram.
I am. Listener feedback time. Chris Egan took the time to email us with a nice lengthy email. Hey all, just want to pass another thank you to the whole crew. First for rescuing us with an AN hose. Who let him an AN hose?
I did.
Go, Chris. Okay, thanks. I had no idea. It worked all weekend. Second, thanks for the continued virtual track walks. This year we were stuck on low boost, half boost, so less power than any other time we've ever been to Thompson with the Saab. Yet he managed to beat his past lap times by about 4 seconds. Dropped my average lap times during Sunday stint by a similar amount. First time he figured out the whole wide line around the oval, which is the fantastic line. I love that line.
You should stop telling people that.
It was cool to
Too many
finally nail it. Yeah,
Too many
it's
people
true.
went that way.
There were a lot
time,
more people
so
out
many
there.
more
Yeah.
people are up there.
Oh, sad.
Oh, well. Focusing on 10, 11 really helped drop his times overall, which is what I worked on all weekend. Long-winded way of saying it was super cool to see all that come together. A lot of it was due to tips from the virtual track walk. Now to pull another 4 seconds out of Mazda's best. See you guys at New Hampshire. Can't wait to try and shave major time there, too. I don't know if there is. I don't think New Hampshire is nearly as tricky as Thompson. So
I agree. I think there's a lot of subtlety to New Hampshire.
Yeah.
I think understanding the virtual track walk that Chris takes everybody on and understanding the racing surface may not do much for your overall lap time, but it's going to help with your racecraft when you have to step offline.
Yeah.
And Chris knows all that stuff quite well. He knows New Hampshire.
He does.
He'll do great, Chris. No worries. Okay.
Hey, so we posted I thought it was funny just because I'm standing there watching them. Posted a caption of the pic of Jeff and Chris under the Mazda. So on the gram, points 1928 said, and this, boys and girls, is how baby Mazdas are made. Quad, rail, and friends. It says ain't no party like a paddock welding party. Waka Reel says Harbor Freight jack stand safety test. And Tim Burr said safety gear, flip-flops, Crocs, check. Facebook.
Did we mention it was really, really hot? Like I usually wear real shoes.
You are not helping by saying it's really, really hot with the comment Chrissy's about to read right now.
True. Yes. On Facebook, Brian M says 2 guys, 1 Mazda. I'd watch it a few times. Adam N typed what a crock. Matt F said, I thought you brought the 10 millimeter. And Ron said that's a pretty bad crack you got there. So,
oh boy.
Yes.
Big shout out to TJ914 who followed me through the paddock as I did my terrible track walk with Martin Brundle impersonation. It was so bad that Tyler on the Facebook said, what the hell was that accent I was attempting? But Tim Burr, right on the YouTube where it was, said it was pretty funny. So I'll take that and award him 2 flamenguins.
2 flamencos.
Flamenco.
Jeff,
Flamenco.
when you edit in the middle of the show,
Yes.
read the next paragraph when you put something in the middle like that.
I did read the next paragraph.
Okay.
Oh, well. Anyway, Ron was talking about the previous picture of our broken threes exhaust. Paul D mentioned, I feel like there might be a root cause that needs to be addressed. Michael K replied, racing a 200,000 mile plus economy front wheel drive hatch.
No,
That might be it.
that's not it.
Yeah, after an interesting discussion about adding a bracket or the reinforcement, Paul ended, well, I understand. I'm incredibly lazy and hate having to re-weld thin exhaust sections. Time for some Schedule 40 pipe. Yep. And just to defend myself here, it is actually supported by a giant metal bracket on the engine about 8 inches away. And then just at the bottom where it makes a bend, it also has a support on the exhaust. So it's supported.
And it's not,
it's got really,
not
really
original
hot.
or an original
It's
with the
not.
car.
I put that there, but it apparently wasn't thick enough.
But the reason it cracked is probably due to the motor falling out last race. I mean,
it was getting thin because it gets a lot of heat there, like a whole lot of heat out of the cap. But yeah, the motor falling out caused all kinds of weird things to go wrong. Who knew?
I can tell you that because my leg was on fire right above it. So there's that.
Yep.
Not this time.
We fixed it.
Yep.
Great.
All right. And finally, Brett took the time to text me a picture of his junk. His dad upgraded to a new side escape fully enclosed trailer, and Brett gets the old one. So it's time to speed up that Mustang build, Brad.
I forgot to add this, that we had some great conversation with some listeners. Shout out to Guy and Fletcher. Is that correct? That's your friend's name?
Yeah.
Your little friend.
The little friend's Fletcher, yeah.
Yeah.
With
So,
the
yeah, we had-
electric bike.
Yeah, who kicked Chris's butt going on a track walk. And we saw them all weekend. They said hi. Great. And listeners, thank you for listening. And it was so lovely to talk to you.
Absolutely.
That's one of those unexpected side benefits. We started this thing is a bit of a lark and we say this every year for the Thanksgiving episode, but it is really cool to meet people at the track that know us through this podcast, and that gives them the opening to walk up and say, hi, I'm so-and-so.
That's what we did.
Fun.
Yeah. We had lots of great conversation, but it was really nice to chat with them. So
You know who else kicks my butt on an electric bike and a track walk?
she probably would.
Chrissy's mom.
She had the chance.
Hello, Chrissy's mom.
Hi, Chrissy's mom. Oh, and
And
thanks for the
family.
cookies, because she, as always, made lots of cookies. So thank you. I didn't eat many of them, but everyone else did.
Everyone else did. Chrissy's mom's cookies have a posse.
Uh-huh.
They
The
totally
bar
do.
things were very popular. What were they?
Yeah, that's why she made a double this time, because they're
Yeah.
like the new hotness.
The
pretty much.
Biscoff bars. Yeah.
Biscoff
That was
bars,
it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I made a request because that's what people, and actually somebody randomly that was pitted near us in Jersey was asking me if we had them, because that's how far they go. So people are interested.
There we go. May topic time. Who
So
wants the
it's
intro?
as we often do. This is the Hangover show. Now, I'm trapped out here in the middle of the desert, and I wasn't part of the racing on this one, but Vicky's now, after walking behind me, is apologizing. So everyone say hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vic.
Especially everyone on
Hi.
the radio that didn't see this.
No.
But I was watching the trials and tribulations, and if I am not mistaken, at one point, all three cars were in the garage.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
not
Yes.
turning
Oh,
laps.
absolutely.
So this was and we I don't know, maybe I cursed it, but Thompson has been the scene of some of the just most agonizing disappointments and our greatest triumphs. And it looks like this weekend was trying to hit both points at the same time. So obviously, you got to get to the track. So let's start with the trek there. Before we get too far into this, Chris and Chrissy, you guys had actually been packing, got done packing. We started a little late last week, and y'all were ready to go. At showtime last Wednesday, Jeff had not started packing.
Correct.
And there was a gamble about whether or not Jeff was going to make that 10 p.m. deadline Thursday.
Correct.
Did he? And I don't want to hear it from Jeff. I want to hear it from Chris and Chrissy, because I don't trust Jeff.
We were on the same trajectory.
Yep. He did make it.
They
we were
not
only
far-
about a half hour apart.
Yeah, and
Yep.
that extended only a little
Yeah.
bit.
Even though I
because of-
worked a half day and
Yeah.
they didn't.
No.
Yep.
So, okay. So the trek there, you worked a half day. So you guys get started at about lunchtime and headed up there.
No,
we
I
waited till
worked.
Chrissy didn't leave.
I
till-
worked most of the day, and then I got back in the car and then worked for another good couple hours. So
Was
I had
this
time to finish packing.
Was this the first test of the Caddy as a track support vehicle?
We took it to
Grid Life.
Grid Life.
Grid Life. Oh, that's right. Okay. All right.
This
Fair
is
enough.
longer, but no,
Caddy's great. Still great.
No,
Air
I
conditioning is
lied.
icy cold.
because
What?
this is the first time we packed it for a race. So we had to
Sure.
redo before the sub had a really good parts. We know exactly how it should be packed to fit everything
the
that we possibly needed
Tetris
into.
model was tested.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
10
was.
years worth of figuring it out.
Right. And we didn't pack much less. We did pretty well. We just had to figure out, like, with the seats all the way folded up instead of everything being flat in the Suburban. Now the middle seats flip up. So we had to use the footwells of behind and under the seats, the captain's seats.
Yeah, it doesn't have
there's
as much
you have
height.
the captain's chairs for the second row seating.
Yes.
Yeah, but the old ones, the captain shares, the bottom folded up and the back folded down.
Yeah, they
Where
disappeared.
these
They
ones,
became
either
flat.
they just fold flat because the third row folds flat into the floor, which takes up floor space. So that raises the height of the floor. So you can have a flat floor, but it doesn't give you much height. And then you have a massive deep well between the seats. Or you can flip the seats up and you get a pretty big area between the second and third rows all the way down to the floor, which gives you a lot of height.
And that was
stuff.
totally Tetris. So all
Yeah.
of the waters, the ice maker, the crock pot, what can I shove down these little crevices, which worked out fine. So we did okay with packing, but it was that was new for this year.
Okay. So with all the new packing and everything on there, the Caddy still rocks as a support vehicle. So it's a 2019,
16.
2016 Escalade, highly recommended, excellent track support / mobile
AC blows
office.
super cold. Yep.
Yeah, because Chrissy had to
cooled
work all the way
seats
up there.
Are epically cold, and it gets the same mileage towing that the Suburban got empty driving around town.
That's the same engine. That's the 6-liter, right?
6.2, 100 more horsepower, 100 more torque, twice as many gears.
Twice as many gears being the key there.
Yeah,
that's legit. That matters. All right. So Jeff, Thursday, you hadn't even thought about packing. You still had to work something, didn't you? Or no?
Time in the RV until my laptop batteries gave out. So I was still sending emails, and then on Saturday or Friday morning, I had to work on a bunch of meetings. It was my work life is really getting in the way of my racing life, and one of them's gotta go.
I know, right?
Jesus. I gotta get on the mental ward retire early theme. And
yeah, well, you see how much racing I'm doing, right? Yeah. Every Sunday, Vicky and I have like our nice little tradition. We go down to the strip. We've got a lunch thing. I walk around looking at all the slot machines with anything over 100,000 going, oh yeah, that'd be worth trying to retire and do nothing but race cars. But what time did you get on the road, Jeff? And were there any events on the way up there? Because I want to talk about your brother on the way back, but we'll save that towards the end.
No, really, nothing really. I mean, we hit New York City. We hit the New York City area traffic right at the wrong time, which we always do because we leave here at like 3. There's one little.
What's nice there is now you stop lying to yourself about we'll be on the road by 9. Nah, dude, we're not getting on the road till like 4.
No, because we have packing to do. I mean, the problem is everything is stored in the wrong house. But anyway, we have one little moment of Wakeman problems.
Just one.
So I was just one in the way there. Okay. So I was throwing everything into the pack, and I was packing, and we got on the road and we went 20 minutes. Remember, it is like 1,000 degrees. My entire house has COVID. We leave the house. We're like 15 minutes away, and I go, oh wait, I left my wallet at home. So my poor wife says, well, I'll come deliver it to you. So she drives. Wife. She was moderately sick at that point, not terribly sick. So she does like the 20-minute trek out, hands me the wallet, drives the 20-minute trek back, and realizes she left the dogs out. So the dogs are like for like 45 minutes. They came in, they were like, I'm dying. Give me water. So that's the only Wakeman issue we really had. So
all right.
Other than everything was fine.
So Friday, you guys get there. It is the Cressida.
Mm-hmm.
It is Betty sans Bruce, which is that becomes a factor later because the Magic trailer wasn't available.
It was.
Right. Okay.
It just wasn't as magic.
It just without Bruce. Bruce is key to the magic of the trailer.
Not even that.
We'll tell the story.
Okay, fair enough. So the 3, the Cressida, and the RX-7 are the primary cars that are the 3 Palomatier cars that are running.
Yeah, this is Betty, the 3.8 liter RX-7, not the LS swapped RX-7 that's not done yet.
I think I'm willing to bet every listener knew.
That was almost just rubbing it in your face.
Of course, these are experienced race cars. They sail through tech. But
let me tell you about unloading.
There's
a story on unloading Betty. This is what we get to.
There's a General Greg problem.
So they had those guys had thrown. What did they do last time to the motor? The motor
they munched it. They munched it because we had both the RX-7s.
They dropped a valve. They dropped
a valve. Okay, so they dropped a valve at New Jersey,
and it rattled all around in the cylinder.
Yeah. So they had what's your engine builder sucks. This engine builder's new. Let's take it to my engine builder on Long Island. Says Momrath principal Amanda. So they take it out and they take the motor. They drive the motor up to Long Island, wherever.
Long Island.
Well, yeah, because there's
Uh,
Long Island, and then where Amanda lives is Long Island.
Long Island, yeah. So then they bring the motor back and it's all done and they all install it at Bruce's house. And this is pre-broken leg. And they start it up and it sounds like a diesel because it had dropped a valve immediately. So they go, crap.
No, you guys are getting this all wrong.
Oh, okay.
The motor blew up at Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah.
Right. They
Hold
took it
it.
out.
Yeah.
They put this new one in. It was okay when they got there to Thompson. And that went back and
Oh,
forth
no,
to
no,
Long
no,
Island a
you're-
couple times. It was still kind of okay. Like, and they drove it all around. It was just had a slight miss to it. On
Oh, no, no,
Saturday.
no. I'm telling you about the story between New Jersey and Thompson.
It didn't drop another valve in between that. It only dropped.
Yes, it did.
Okay, fine, whatever.
It
You're wrong,
did.
but it doesn't
No,
matter.
no, it absolutely.
I'm
I'm
not going to let
absolutely
the
right.
truth get in the way of a good story.
No, it is true. They started it up at Bruce's house before he broke his leg. This is why the trailer was so fucked up. And they didn't know what to do. They called the engine builder, and the engine builder said, well, bring it back. Clearly, I did something wrong in the head. So they just threw it in the trailer, and Amanda drove it back to Long Island without any of the tools because they're going to be back in a couple of weeks. So the RX-7 went to Long Island and stayed there. And Amanda, actually, one of Amanda's teammates, brought it to the track. In the meantime, Bruce had broken his leg. They had no tools. They had no spare parts. Nothing was in the trailer because it had been living at the engine builders instead of at Bruce's house. Then when they got it to the track, exactly what Chris said happened. It continued not to run.
It ran. It just wasn't quite right.
Yeah,
Correct.
It got worse
it got worse
and
Mm.
worse.
and
Hmm.
worse.
But now, before we go through that, I want to talk about the themes, how that went over, because we were keeping the theme secret last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right. It's a good theme.
Yeah.
All right. So the themes were, because we've been doing this for years, silver's not a theme, black is not a theme. So it was orange is not a theme, blue is not a theme, and pearlescent.
Definitely not a theme.
Pearlescent is not a
Blue
theme.
Did not participate.
They were
They-
too worried about their car not working.
They did
So,
not.
but we were very good about telling other people that their cars were just a color and not a theme. And over the weekend, it gradually picked up.
It did.
More people
started
were
shouting back.
Yeah, and they would tell us pearl is not a theme. And I think they missed some of the irony there, but
Yes.
it's okay.
And
it's
some
fine.
people were offended. Shut up.
They
I got a
definitely were.
theme."
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
There were a couple that were really actually upset. And
That we were calling them
And
out.
then they tried to prove that they had a costume that was just when black is
Terrible.
not a theme.
It
black.
wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
mm-mm.
Still wasn't.
Yeah. Nope.
Anyway, let's get to
Those
the
people
race.
were all proof of concept, no doubt.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
It wasn't theme heavy. Let's get right to the racing because that's when I think it gets exciting. 'Cause
Well,
test day
let's talk
went
about
fine.
the testing day, and then there's so the testing day went fine for everybody.
Oh, and yeah. Well,
No,
talk
not at
about-
all. Not in any way,
Okay,
shape, or
there
form.
we go. Because Chris was
Right.
saying it got worse, and then the more important part of the testing day. But yes,
Well, so yeah, the RX-7 kept getting worse, but they thought it was going to be good enough for the race. Like they're futzing with it, but they're okay. The Mazda went out and promptly broke its exhaust, or had an exhaust leak that we found when we had it up in the air checking it, because we were checking for what was the first thing that broke? Wasn't the exhaust? Something else broke.
The fan wasn't working. We had to
That's
replace
right.
the fan.
Oh, yeah.
The fan was
Yup.
car was running really hot. It was not cooling off, and I brought it in. It was letting it idle, and I got up to like 237. The was not cooling. The fan wasn't coming on, so we pulled the fan. Jim went to a junkyard 20 minutes away, bought a fan for $40. Brought it back, put it in. Fan works.
Yep,
Amazing.
and fan is an
Um,
original part. So we
Yep, and-
decided. that
Yep. Thanks
it's
to
okay
Manny
for it to go
for
back.
use of his all data login, so I could confirm the wiring diagrams, which is great. So we fixed
you got-
that, and then while it was running to get to test the fan, we said, "Yeah, I feel like I hear an exhaust leak." So we
No,
pulled the
you said that. We were listening to the fan. We're looking for the
Yeah.
fan, and then you said that doesn't sound right. That sounds.
Yeah. So I pulled the heat shield. Sure enough, there's a crack and a hole in the exhaust. Pulled the header off. Or that's the header. It's a close coupled cat manifold. Pull that off, weld back up the crack that's in it, put it back in, and sent that Eric out for the last half hour of the day because he hadn't been in the track for a while. The car seemed fine at the end of the day. So, but we had to solve that problem. I think Cressida did what Cressida does usually, at that point.
For that point, yes, until later.
And then we had the potluck.
We had a
Chrissy?
potluck.
I forgot the potluck was Friday. Yes, we
How
did
did
talk
you
about
forget?
the
Yeah,
potluck.
so we had potluck. It went really, really well. Thank you all for showing up. Really appreciate all of the food. We had really minimal potato salad, which was really great. We had, I don't think I had any pizza, lots of homemade sides, plenty of meat. Everybody had the meat sweats. We had lots left over, but I have to give a huge shout out to my team that were just integral to making all of it happen on time with all the help, which was Jen and Bobbin and Jeff. I think you helped a little bit.
I was cooking mostly, preparing myself.
Yeah. So everybody was there. Were a couple of people that were very, very helpful to setting it up.
100% less flipping out this time.
100%. Yes. I know I was dancing. I was actually, I told Chris, I feel like I'm there.
I think Friday is the new hotness for.
I mean, it seemed to work.
It's
There was
less stressful.
There was a couple people that complained because they said Saturdays feels like it's more like a party, or Friday. I don't know. There's people, I heard both sides and I didn't care because Saturday was going to not work for having a potluck. So, and especially since nobody thinks about the cleanup, like you get your plate of food and you walk away. There's a lot of work to be done after you've eaten.
And I feel like that's a great transition because Saturday at Thompson, with it being the middle of towards the end of the summer there, and you're not starting till noon, that's a 10-hour race day Saturday.
Yeah, that's exactly why I made it Friday.
That's why we didn't do it.
I literally made the choice and said we are not doing it Saturday because when track ends at 6:30, then you have to go. If your car is broken, you're not coming to the potluck. And you have to find somebody that's going to make food, and that's not on your mind right now.
So and so that was I agree, that was a smart choice. So you got 10 hours of racing Saturday. Everyone starts out fairly
Jeff, did you
strong.
have something to say?
No, I'm going to save it for Saturday party.
Oh.
So everybody starts out fairly strong. When did it start to go wrong?
For Betty, almost immediately.
Yeah, Amanda was complaining about not having the power it should, and but still turning decent times and doing well. But eventually it was getting worse and worse and worse, and they brought it in and just started tinkering, and that was pretty much it for Betty. I guess we can tell the rest of the story there. They were going through all kinds of stuff, and they had a bunch of people working on it who were talented mechanics. And eventually it turns out, ultimately, they did have a broken wire on the 5-cylinder 5 injector.
Yep.
That we figured out.
They were trying to chase the injector.
Yep, they were doing all kinds of wiring stuff. They went through 3 alternators, driving all over the world for alternators. So that was a voltage thing. They found a janky battery connection that was definitely Leote rigged, that was so hot they couldn't touch it. But
there
after solving all these problems,
theory about exciters and voltage necessary.
Yep.
A lot of theory.
And a lot of the wiring harness on the car, the Camaro wiring harness, is definitely worse for wear in a number of areas that they have found now. But ultimately, the thing that did it in after doing all this work, the exact same valve that broke before broke again in the same place.
Oh,
valve dropped into the cylinders and rattled all around and destroyed the spark plug, destroyed the combustion chamber, destroyed all that stuff. And they just went, that's it. So there we go.
How did the like you said, oh, thank you, babe. The Cressy did what the Cressy does, which in addition to turning laps, being quick, not setting the track on fire, but just over a period of time, wearing everyone down.
Your lead-in is entirely inappropriate in this case.
Oh, I was going to say, because what it also always does is get flagged for a fuel leak when it's always the cool shirt.
Yes.
That happened on Sunday.
But
what happened on Saturday is Tim goes out and the transmission is a box of rocks by the time he brings it back. Just flying nothing.
McGee.
Terrible. Couldn't even drive himself into the garage. When they pulled the drain pan out of it, like you could hear the bits of metal falling out with the oil into the pan, like tink, tink, tink. Dave had another trans. They put it in. They got back out at like 5 o'clock.
Also, Dave's trans was in a perfectly fitting box, and it was like beautiful.
Yeah, it was already redone.
I know, but it was like, but it fit just so nicely in the box. Like it would just, when we dragged transes out there.
That.
Yeah, I know. They look very nice.
No, we should mention that What time did they break and what time did our exhaust break? Because we
They
broke
broke
again.
a little before us.
Like
they
20,
broke.
30 minutes, right?
Yeah, about half hour before we
Yeah,
did. And
because
then
I was in the
Chris,
car.
yeah, Eric went out. He got like an hour and a half with a little tiny break in the middle. So that was great for Eric. Wonderful job with him.
Then Jeff got in.
Then Jeff went out. Jeff did the rest of Eric's fuel, and then we put more fuel in, and you kept going. And eventually, when it was time for Chrissy to go in, then Chrissy went in. You got about half an hour into your shift, and all of a sudden the car got real loud.
Yeah. Well, I could tell the story. We're going to
Yeah.
talk about how the day went. Yeah. So I was going out. I was, I got an hour. I think I was over about an hour 15 maybe, because we were probably talking about 45, 2 hours for timing. And then you were going to get in. Or then I guess Jim was going to get in, but yeah. So I was driving around, and all of a sudden it just everything got really loud, and I was like, either it's my earbud fell out, or there's something wrong with the exhaust. Unfortunately, I was only 3 corners away when it happened, so I brought it right in. I asked. I said, it's loud. I'm bringing it in, and here the exhaust exploded, cracked all the way around. Both, it came apart. Not just a crack; it came apart fully. So we had to wait till it cooled down. And so the Cressida, I was out with Tim, and Tim said, I think he said it was the diff, but he said it's dead. I think he died on the track. I don't think he could bring it in. So I was still out.
He limped it into the paddock, and we had to push it into the garage. It couldn't even make it into the garage.
So yeah, so I was still out when he came in. So I like 20 minutes. I think that's probably about accurate when he came in.
That's important for the next part of the story, but I just want to thank you both for not mentioning my black flag, for blend line violation, and all that. But
and Eric got one.
Yeah,
Pass
Eric
under
had a
yellow.
Whoa.
Yep.
Eric got a black flag.
He did.
Yeah, because
The pillars that support my reality are shaking.
He was getting so racy, like out breaking people. Like he was racing, like really actually racing. Like actually everyone's best lap times at this race were within 3 seconds of each other.
They were, but that's not why he got the pass under yellow. Just
No.
saying.
He was talking to us on the radio.
No, that's not true. That's not
that.
true either. No, he was tired. He was wiped.
Yeah.
It was
so
really
that's why
hot.
it was really, really hot. But that's why.
Look forward to our penalty appearing at some point in
right.
the wrap up video, because we did a Your Mama
Sorry.
battle. It was fun.
Yeah. Now, so
it was already on the Facebook, I think.
The transmission gets swapped in the Cressy. They're back out. You get the exhaust welded up in the Mazda 3. They're back out. We
had to rebuild half the manifold on this. Actually, it cracked all the way through, and that pipe was gone.
Right.
So Eric went to the parts store, got a couple bits and pieces that we could put together. It took a few tries, but we got it all welded back together.
It took a few tries.
Yeah, it took a few tries,
That's
but
because
it is
somebody's
back
bad
together.
at cutting.
One bad cut. One
One
cut
goat. Yep.
Yep, it's a straight cut. About 20-degree angle. Definitely
Not
straight.
straight.
Did you give him?
Like
Did you give him a butter
10
knife?
degree.
Okay.
No.
No,
All right.
he had
So
plenty
we
of things
put
to
that-
cut with.
We got that back together. The Mazda and Cressida went out right about the same time at about 5:30 with an hour left in the day. I drove the last hour of the day, had a great time. Car felt great. I didn't worry about using up the fuel, so I used all of it, and it was a good time. And Cressida did great too at the end of the day.
And we beat them. We were at like whatever 67th and 68th or whatever, wherever we
Could
were.
get one
We were
more
right-
on that one.
No,
we
we
just-
won.
Yep,
We said
did.
whoever beats each other, because we were so close when we both came off track. By the time we fixed our cars and got back out on track, we were trying to see who was going to win at the end of the day. And we won by
Mazda
like
won
lap
just a
or
little bit.
something. Yeah, by a lap.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
And
So because you don't start until noon on Sunday, which I think is a growing trend because Gingerman's doing the same thing. That means Saturday night is beyond Thompson's usual Caligula
No.
style.
if it
party.
weren't so incredibly hot,
Exactly.
it would have been better.
What I
Because
was
everyone
gonna
was like,
say.
everyone was
I
tired
don't want to
from
party.
a long,
Yep.
hot day. Like you're
Yep.
There's
just
no bonfire this time.
There
was a
was.
bonfire.
Oh, there was a
There was.
bonfire.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, we took Scooty up to the bonfire with Tim sitting in the radio flyer wagon in the
Oh,
back.
on the
and
way
Tim-
up. So it's
Yep.
very hard to pull somebody on the way up with Scooty. I was the puller And then I wrote it in on the way down. I shouldn't tell it to my mother. It was, and I took video while I was doing it. So anyway, that was fun. The bonfire, there was not many people there. And then of course we told people that we were, oh, you know who was there though? The squatting Slavs in tracksuits. They didn't have a car, but they showed up because
they showed up to
a
give
hilarious
drinks.
group of people. I just think they're hilarious.
Yeah.
So
That's
great
pretty.
theme.
That is
Moscow
pretty
Mule.
friggin' cool.
Moscow
Moscow
Mule.
Mule.
Are they calling them Moscow Mule? Yeah,
Ukrainian
say
Mule.
I think they changed it. I
Oh,
think they
yes.
deliberately.
And the drinks are so good, and they're hilarious.
I had them pour me a Ukrainian mule, but I got up to squat myself because I said I'll squat myself, and I got yelled at for not having my ankles down.
Duh.
They were like, ankles down. I was like, I don't know how to squat.
No, they tell you, but they're all very patient.
Flat foot,
and very-
man. Yeah,
They're hilarious. I just had to say
That's
because
awesome.
so they were the people that were promoting us to go up to the bonfire. We went up there. There weren't many people, and by the time we got up there to try to drag everybody there, we were like, screw it, we're just gonna stay down there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
'cause
called.
we had the tepid tub this weekend because we didn't want it hot. So like after one night of the heater on, we let's shut that off, but it never cooled off. So it was always
And
just
Chris turned it. Thankfully, you turned it off before it got too hot. But even by then, it was already too hot.
Yeah. And also we had Tim's giant flamingo. If you saw the Tim episode in the YouTube, you saw the flamingo in the lake outside his house. He brought that with us. So that was a great place to hang out too. And then late at night, one guy thought it was a penguin. So then it became the flamingo or the flanguin, depending on.
Flanguin.
Yep. He wanted to sit in the penguin.
This
And we're
very
looking
Trek
around.
guy said,
This
let's
huge
sit in the
flamingo.
penguin. We're like, that?
What?
The big pink thing?
Yeah.
It's a flamingo, dude.
The 8-foot tall pink flamingo. Yeah. Okay. It's a penguin.
Oh boy.
Yes.
But
But it was good.
but yeah,
And then-
generally the party was a little I'm just gonna sit here and be mellow because it's hot.
Yeah.
All right. So Sunday morning, I don't know if you guys caught this. You are on the 24 Hours of Lemons YouTube, and that is our new call to action for our news and notes videos. It's all of you pushing the car because you can't even look at a race motor before noon on Sunday, lest some angry man in a golf cart come by and yell at you. So we it's a nice, easy, I'm guessing good breakfast. Everyone gets up, they get hydrated.
We slept in.
Yeah, we sat in the flamingo.
We did.
Yep.
Yes, and we got up late. We had a nice breakfast, hung out. Yeah, pretty easy. We're just like, wait, we don't have more time. Oh, we've got another hour. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, totally.
We just start
relaxing.
packing though.
Yep. Racing. What Jim started, he ran full shift. He got in a too many cars and not enough space incident at one point, and there wasn't a mark on the car that we could find. Then now I have since found that it's on the right rear wheel, but there wasn't anything else.
Yeah, he
so
came
anyway,
back
he went back out.
self-reported, was not seen by the judges, so or not reported by the track workers, I should say.
Yeah, but he finished up his shift. Everything seemed okay. Chrissy went out. You did your whole shift, hour and 45. Then I got in and I did one lap and said,
Hold.
no, Chrissy,
Hold.
please.
So
Yeah, talk about your shift, Chrissy.
I will talk about my shift. So it was so hot. I feel like I was trying to rehydrate all the time, but we're just sweating constantly. I drank who knows how much Gatorade and it didn't matter. So I got out and I tried to oscillate my cool shirt for a while and it should have not run out, but it did. And so I actually ended up being pretty wiped when I got out. But halfway through my stint, I said, I called in. I said, that car's down on power. Something changed. I felt it and I couldn't so it wasn't dead, but I couldn't get good times out of it no matter how I tried. And it was only a couple seconds off, but it was one of those where you put all the gas down. And before I would kind of power out of a corner enough. And this time I just didn't. And are we finishing?
Playing the outro already, Jeff?
Wow. Thank you
Sorry,
for
my phone
listening.
is
Still
going
playing
crazy.
the outro?
Stop.
Thank you for listening to Everyone Racers. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
It's like the Oscars. Apparently you've spoken too long.
I
now. They-
didn't
Yes.
realize.
comes
I'll talk faster
There
if
it
you'd
goes.
like me to.
No, it's fine.
Okay, cool. So I call in Chris and say it's down on power. Do you want to bring it in? He says, No, if it's undrivable, bring it in. And if not, then don't. And I said, okay. So I just kept going.
Yeah,
And then
I think you gave us like I'm not feeling it. There's something wrong, and we couldn't tell. We're like, if it's
No,
bad, bring it in.
I told you it
And
was
you
down
were
on
like,
well, I
"It's
said it
down
was
on power. I think. Like
Yeah, I
think
did.
I think if you would have been like, oh my gosh, it's really bad.
It's not really. It wasn't really bad. It was just
Yeah, yeah,
enough that it
yeah.
was annoying. And when you put your foot to the floor, usually you power out. And I put the foot to the floor, and I was lugging. Like I
Yeah.
needed to go. Like sometimes I was like, I need to go in a second. Like that's how much I was like, wow, I must have overslowed that corner like a lot. But it's something changed in my shift.
Yeah, I
So,
think
I
we
don't-
may have not misunderstood, but we weren't. We had a discussion amongst ourselves, like,
Mhm.
how bad do you think it is? Well, I don't know.
I mean,
Maybe
I
it's just
didn't
heat,
know.
Maybe it's just this,
Right.
you know.
Right. And I just was like, well, I'm out here. It's not like I'm not being a detriment. I'm just gonna keep driving. So I did. But then when I got out, I was really bad. It was too hot for me. So I kind of, when I was 20 minutes out, I was like, can I get out soon? Because really again. I was like, can I get out? And so you're like, nope, 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, let's
Because we
weren't
weren't ready. Yeah, we weren't ready.
No, but I had said I was really hot, and I probably should have come in.
You
That's
said-
really what the
you
answer
said-
is.
You said I'm a little hot.
Well, I was
If
a
you
little
said
hot.
I am so hot that I'm getting dangerous, then obviously come in.
I should have probably done that,
That's
but
the difference.
I didn't. So that's fine.
So I get in.
So,
I do one lap under full course yellow and say something isn't right. It's not the engine that was bothering me. There was a rotational noise coming from the right rear. And I knew that the wheel had potentially taken a hit earlier. It wasn't changing with braking really. But it was definitely there, definitely bothering me. And so but I came out for one lap because my cool shirt wasn't working. And there's no way in hell I was going to go try to race without the cool shirt working. And we're not trying to win anything. So let's get that fixed. So we did. Just the hose wasn't in right. Go back at it again, still hear the noise, and also feel the engine. It sometimes has all the power and sometimes doesn't have all the power. But it was probably a 20% difference maybe. And the transitions between on and off throttle were a little strange. So something wasn't quite right in two different areas. It's super hot. The car's been running 225 degrees at least all weekend, if
Plus,
not
yeah.
230, because that's the fan speed on that car, and that's what it needed the fan on. That it would maintain it. But okay, still, it's running real hot all weekend. I just said, I'm not gonna ruin anything else. Like the car's still gonna drive on the trailer and be in good shape right now, with an hour and a half left. Let's just do that. So I stopped.
Yep.
Saved the car for another day.
drove it on the trailer. Packed up
Yep.
early. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Continuing packing. Sunday packing sucks. Especially when it's
It sucks 'cause it's so
9,000.
yeah, it was so
degrees.
hot. You just didn't want to do anything.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. And I know before Mental says it's hot. This was 90.
No, dude, this is Connecticut. Yeah, all the
You know
humidity.
the difference.
97% humidity. It was
No,
just
no. I will take my 110 over that crap.
I know.
all-
and that's really what the difference was the humidity. It's just that you were just walking in
Just
and out.
drenched.
It's funny because when we started saying goodbye to friends and stuff, we were giving hugs and at least Jen was like, "Oh, no hugs. I'm sweaty." And I was like, "If you are not sweating standing here, there is literally something wrong with your body because you were." I got a shower after my stint, and as soon as you step out of the actual shower, you're immediately sweating.
yes,
That's
the shower lasted like 1
and I was
minute.
like, well, it's good that I'm like, now it's clean sweat, which is good. But that's how disgusting it was. We had cool towels, which helped. But they only helped for a little while. So,
it was bad.
Yeah.
yep.
No, there's a reason I live in the desert, and that's
Yeah.
definitely one of them. No
yeah.
thanks.
Yeah. So that's why it was just hella hot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So-
the awards.
We said what won already, so I don't think we would need to do that again. But I want to.
I was just wondering if there was like something funny that happened at the ceremony. Okay,
I don't know.
yeah,
I
fair
threw the
enough.
dong at some new kids.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
It was
That
new
was
people.
totally
They
worth
weren't
it.
children. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
laugh or were they offended?
They laughed.
They laughed.
Okay, fair enough.
There was definitely an uncomfortable smile and laugh with it sitting on the ground in front of them while they're getting
Yes,
their picture
and they were
taken.
taking pictures. Yes, that was funny. That was good.
Because everyone else that's hangs out by the garage, I mean, everyone that's not noon like expects the dong to get thrown around. once in
Should
a
we
while.
should we mention?
Hold real quick with the dong story.
Oh, go on.
This is funny. So hold on, real quick. Judge Aaron comes over to me and says, "Can you tell me where the shame dong is?" And I was like, "It's not just the shame dong."
We
But
said
he-
no kink
rolling
shame.
through all the list of the dongs. Oh, there's the penalty
Well,
dong,
Right,
there's the hurling dong,
right.
there's the,
So
there's
it's
the
all the same
shame
thing.
dong. I don't.
But but he wanted to give it to another team that was yelling at cars come by with signs that say don't speed in the pits, because that was a huge problem for us or at this track. And so he wanted the kids to hold it, and he hands it to one of them, and they do the
I don't want to touch it.
I don't want to touch
fingertips.
this fingertips and face. Yes. And so finally, after 10 seconds, they're swinging it and they're throwing it and they're
It's so much fun.
anyway, okay. Sorry to interrupt with that.
I love it. Starts like this, and within moments.
Oh, they're like, this is kind of dirty. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, it doesn't get
It's actually
cleaner than that.
clean. It's
I
just
know.
stained. Yep.
That was a well-made. That's a well-made marital aid. That one has outlasted all the other ones.
Quite.
I want to do some shout outs about the results, because we already mentioned that Yuri absolutely crushed it in the Buick Opal, whatever that thing is. Alex was driving wheels off that thing and got some pretty impressive times. Also impressive, the Ombre came in like what, 13th overall?
13th with Monkey
third-
House with
third and
13th.
With its new
third and B?
owners.
Yep.
Yeah,
With
third and B.
Jeremy and Jonah and Nick and those guys. 13th.
And
In
Tim drove that as well.
And
I
Tim,
believe.
yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everyone that sells the Ombre, and then it goes off and keeps running forever. And it's like, why do we sell that?
Yeah. And they really like it. They had a couple fixes on it, but they had a good time with it, and they seemed to
And
be
it
dialing
definitely
in.
came back with a way dented bumper. Did anybody see that? The rear
Front or rear?
bumper got
rear?
like you know how it like curves in on the body. It's an S10 bumper, so it kind of like it was like straight out.
Oh
So
no!
clearly
It hooked,
something-
it hooked somebody.
Something hooked the bumper and just
Oh.
pulled it out. It was really amusing.
So if you're asking us all the time, what's a good car to start off in Lemons? An S10.
S10, without a doubt.
It's
Because
been
you can
dialed in,
upgrade
though.
it. Yes, well, that's the thing.
Sure.
It's good. Parts are plentiful. It's easy on consumables, and then it provides you an opportunity to upgrade it and learn as you go.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you count your shims and put them in the right. The other car that we should probably talk about is the Fishers.
Yeah.
Garage Heroes Honda.
It had some issues.
It had some issues,
including a lot of blow by on Saturday at the end of the day.
like engine full of blow by kind of blow by.
It had a lovely vinaigrette in the catch can. Like really.
And we
It's-
dared-
put it in
and
the glass
people-
jar. It separated. It was lovely.
Yeah, people dared Alex to drink it.
I did see that was a game on the Garage Heroes and Facebook. They called it the new paddock game, blow by or vinaigrette, and someone was holding holding a clear jar and deciding whether or not.
That's how bad it was. Yes. So lastly, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jeff. Shout out to our friends Tesla. Is that how you say that?
Brand new kids in a Mazda 3. They barely got their car to pass text by Saturday morning. They were still welding the cage up on Friday. The cage looks nice though. Actually, the guy did a nice job. They go out. They're getting ready to go out on Saturday, and clutch doesn't work. This like to the end of the day Saturday when they were finally ready. Clutch doesn't work. I check with I go look at. Yep. I mean they put it in gear, let the foot out. Car doesn't even stall, like nothing. So they were
That's
like, well,
never
what should we
happened
do?
to us.
No,
wait,
ours at least stalled still.
At Thompson.
Thompson
Yeah.
last year.
Like I'm watching the actuation, like it's definitely the clutch. So they're like, well, we don't really know how to work on cars at all. I'm saying, all right, well, it's
Time to
7
learn.
o'clock,
Well,
and we
this
have to start
actually,
till noon tomorrow.
Before,
so
while you were in the car closing, they came over to me and were like, "It's clutch. How bad is it?" And I was like, "Hey, Chris." Because I literally can't remember the time when we did the clutch on our car because it was so long ago. And we did the trans swap at the same time. So like we never just dropped it to a clutch.
We've done a different trans swap and clutch since. So.
Right. So I was like, how bad is it? And you're like, oh, it's not that bad. And so I said, get somebody to go get it. Cause we've now back to what you were saying, we've got time. So let's, get it done. And they're like, we have nobody who's a wrench. We really don't actually know how to do anything on this car.
So they got in a garage space that had been vacated and started working and getting bits and pieces of help here and there from a variety of people and
YouTube.
Yeah. And eventually did get it all back together, but something wasn't quite right. Like they were about to go out and get the checker last couple laps. So they got it together and something wasn't quite right. So it would work when the battery was not in place, but not when it was, one of those kind of things. So they called it, but they had a wrenching victory for themselves, and they did a clutch, and those guys had no idea how to even like change oil before this. So good for them. We gave them some parts
the guidance. We did a lot of rah. They were right next to Garage Heroes and the truck. So they were right around people that we know. They were really, really nice people. And
great attitudes.
Really, yes, absolutely. We kept saying you can do it, and we lend them parts. Did you say that? I'm sorry, I was looking at something else. Yeah, so we were, and then we've been back and forth with them since. So it's great.
That's awesome. That is just, and imagine. I hate to get all teachery on this, but imagine like the confidence that gives them. They're at work and someone gives them, I don't have no idea how to do this task, and they're like, wait, didn't I replace a clutch in a race car overnight?
I got to be able to find it on YouTube.
Except these people were like mega smart. Like the one guy was a PhD and taught at like Yale, I think, and was going from New Haven to Southern. He lived actually near your old house, Jeff. Southern or Northern Jersey. And he was like, I have to go to New Haven every so like wicked smart people. So not to say that not that everybody isn't, but I just happened to be talking when Chris was talking to the team. I was talking to a gentleman on the team. So very smart people, but they learned and it was good.
That's awesome. So
let me do one more, and then let's because we said what the Egan's did. We said how the Garage Heroes did. How did the Tom Lamino do?
It broke.
Oh yeah, broke. That's it.
Okay.
It was the belt, and then what? Then something after that.
I don't know. It's always
then the belt. That was the belt again, and it's a weird belt because of something.
Tom always has like the part is hard to get, and I can't find it because I get it from some guy.
Oh, and they had to go back to.
And he goes on our Slack and he's like, "Oh no, I got this really cool high performance part that I had to order from Germany." We're like, "Tom, it's gonna break. You're not gonna have that at the racetrack." No. This time,
no, it's great. It'll be great. They always told me this time.
And they had to go back to Jonah's house for something, which isn't close.
That's New Hampshire.
Right. Oh, right.
When Jonah brings his car, it runs all weekend, and they're the same car, right?
No. Jonah's got like this. Theirs is a 5-cylinder reality swap, and it broke.
So's Tom's.
So's Tom's.
Okay,
now.
but it broke at New Hampshire.
It did break once. Yeah.
I mean, neither of that means Volkswagen. Do not buy a Volkswagen as your first race car. That's really what it comes down to. Although somebody on Facebook.
Jeff did say to him at one point, Tom, I'm not sure the Fox was all of the problem.
And he walked away and he's just like,
that's fair.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. So the ride home, how'd the caddy do on the way home? Because now you're exhausted. Those air conditioned seats must have been chef's kiss.
It was phenomenal. Yeah.
I mean, it was phenomenal. It was terrible. We got home at midnight and
but for that drive, it was great. We were comfortable. It was quiet. It was calm. It was cool. Decent mileage.
I think we got out of Thompson earlier than we have in the past. So that's
we did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's
we were home at midnight. That's not too bad.
So talk to me about your brother, Jeff. Because he has some sort of conversation with some local law enforcement personnel.
State police, sure. New Jersey State Police. So
known for their easygoing nature.
Yeah.
That's all cops.
A cab to start, to fund the police, all that things. So anyway, so here's what I got.
Did you
So we
not just
pull
read the
into the-
statistics on stolen cars? That's a
No, I don't
terrible
care.
idea.
Have my car. Listen. So here's
They
what
don't
happens.
catch. They don't find them. so what's the
Exactly.
point?
They're not helpful with that. So we pull into we need fuel. Thank God somebody put fuel in because we ran the AC like constantly to the point where we froze up the AC
Didn't
on
work
Saturday
anymore.
night.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were worried about getting, how many times we'd have to stop for gas. And we pretty much made it to the New Jersey Turnpike. Was it New Jersey? Yeah, New Jersey Turnpike. And it was a little further north in New Jersey than we usually stop. So we pull in and it's like trucks and buses this way and cars that way. So we go to the trucks and buses and we park it there and we pee and we get our snacks. I get a Starbucks and we're driving to the fuel pumps and we get to, and it's like, there's like curb wall between where the trucks and buses go and the gas pumps. Your options in the truck and bus size are diesel or DEF. You have no gas on that side and you can't get to the other side. Like usually there's like a little hole in the curbs and you can go through it. So I'm like, dude, right there, just go through right there. And he's like, well, I can't go there. It says do not enter. I said, well, your choice is do not enter or one way.
Oh, no.
So he's like, well, I already missed the do not enter. So it's like 10, 15 feet of one way. I could see straight through it. It's just where there's like 10 parking spots. I'll just go there and then be able to turn in the regular thing. So I was like, okay, wait. Don't go. Statey, man, state police officer. So the state police officer pulls up to the stop sign that we're about to go through the other direction. And we just kind of sit there like,
oh,
you go. You go.
No,
Go ahead.
no.
You go. We're
In
trying
an
to do
RV.
something illegal
in an
here.
RV, right?
An
You're
RV.
blocking-
It's not like you're in a Miata. You're in an RV.
So the cop goes to the stop sign, and we're just sitting there like we're not going anywhere. We're just sitting here, and then he like enters where all the trucks are like sleeping, and I'm like, do it, punch it, let's go. So we go through the like 30 feet of one way, and we get to where we are. And as we get there, we get to the same like do not enter sign because we didn't realize it was the same place. And as we do that, the cop pulls up next to us with his lights on, and goes, "What the hell are you doing?"
No, he did. No, don't you dare. Don't you dare a Southern accent. Don't you friggin' dare.
They all have Southern accents. At that
No,
point.
they do not in New Jersey.
No, he said, "What's up?" I don't know. Is that Jersey? I don't know. Anyway, so we said, yeah, we need fuel. We need gas. And
What you's doing here is driving the wrong ways.
it was South Jersey,
That's
so it was like
terrible,
that. Yeah, he said, what you doing? And we said, like, we're trying to get fuel. And he goes, yeah, they didn't mark that very well, did they? And we were like,
No.
is he on our side or not? Can't tell. Keep playing it. So we were like, yeah, we were really confused and we don't know what to do now, sir. Thank you for helping us. And he says, next time you got to go the wrong way, do it with care. So of course, okay, like be more careful next time you're breaking the law.
Multiple times.
So then my brother's like, so what do I do now? And he's like, go through the do not enter. There's the fuel. Go.
Oh,
So that's what
good.
we
So
did.
he condoned it.
Yes.
Okay.
He didn't. He was. I wouldn't say on like a 1 to 10 scale of mad. He was on a 3.
Annoyed.
He's like, these
Yeah.
jabronis. Get out of here.
Exactly.
There it is.
What the
Exactly.
hell?
There's a Jersey phrase.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
jabronis
Just
over here.
in nut jobs. The hell.
All right.
Yeah, that was it.
So,
It wasn't that bad.
No, that's good.
We're running a little longer than I want to, but this is the key point. Is coming from my background. Everything is all about the debrief. What lessons did we learn to apply for the next one? And I didn't type this up, which, by the way, this is the awesome thing about taking a month off is all of a sudden the show notes are being done like on Mondays. So, Chris, I want to save you for the last because you're the guy, but Jeff, not really bringing a car. What would you fix for the next one?
Well, I would like to bring a car and get mine done, but that's
That's
a- that's a-
That's funny.
Fine
a
goal.
rock solid plan.
Let's-
It's
let's
a,
go.
it's a
Funny
It's
guy.
a good goal. It's a good
Yeah.
goal.
No, when it's hotter than halfway up a snake's ass in a wagon, right? You really need to take care of yourself and hydrate. And I think I hydrated fine, but man, it's still, you just got to really be careful because it will knock you out.
All
That
right.
kind of heat.
Chrissy, you had to learn to pack a new vehicle.
Sure. Yes. I was like, what?
Did you now driving the car that was down on power? Did you find your inner Ross Bentley and start working on being smoother, or especially
No.
battling dehydration?
It's hot. and
We're not
no,
trying to win anything. So.
no, not even a little bit. I needed to pack more shirts is what it come down to. Because it's just really hot. And every time you take clothes off, you don't really want to put old clothes on. So I feel like I needed some more bikinis or something because it was just hot. No, I had a great time on Saturday. The car was running well. Happy, really excited and happy that all of us were running really close times, which was awesome. And Chris included. We were close to Chris, which was exciting. So it was what
I was waiting for you to finish.
Oh, okay. So it was nice to see that we were all on. It's that track, the car on that track, but it's really that track. We all just kind of turn on and get really excited. Eric included. He was happy and was doing well and he was having a good time. So yeah, I think I thought it was good. What are we doing
I
next?
thought of something I learned.
Please.
Tim Burr, really cool cat.
Is amazeballs.
He's a dude, man. In the don't be a douche, be a dude category, he's 100% dude.
Oh yeah,
He
if you ever want to feel bad about yourself
And
and enjoy it, go to his house and see the work that he's done on his house. He is just a phenomenal human being. His dog is even cooler than everybody else's dog.
Oh, I was
Neil
going to
Losi,
say
too.
everybody else. How about that?
Yeah,
His
Neil
dog is
Losi.
cool.
Neil Losi. I love that Neil Losi is getting out of California this year. It's been awesome.
I've hung with Neil Losi a little bit in Jersey, but I've never hung with him at all. So it was cool.
All right. Okay,
Chris doesn't get to go.
Chris.
I think I learned that I actually need to break down and get a tune for the Mazda so that I can have the ECU turn the fan on at a lower temperature.
I think that's
I was
a
just
fine
leaving
idea.
it. I was leaving it as stock as possible, thinking that's usually the best, most reliable thing to do. But
No.
well,
this
and
is an area
especially when
where
you're
we are out
developing
of-
it. Yes.
Yeah, this is an area we are out of design parameters now. I think and we know we need the fan to come on to keep its temperature right, and that it does, and it will maintain and regulate in terrible conditions, but it needs to come on 30 degrees sooner.
It was disconcerting when we just sat and looked at the gauge, and the gauge only has this much area, very little area
Sweep,
between
yeah.
the 225 and 250, and that's bad range. Like we shouldn't be getting there, but we were like, well, if your angle of your head is looking this way, then it's a little high. Well, it's a little higher, so you shouldn't have to play that game.
The stock temperature gauge never budged. So that made me think, all right, we are still in design parameters, but but running that long for that hard, I don't want to be at that edge. I need to back it off.
And
it's
I'm going to give
modules
you
and
the
variable speeds
the inevitable listener feedback question. Knowing your design philosophy of always automate as much as you can, why not just hardwire it?
because there's a lot of times we don't want it on, and I don't trust anyone else to turn it on the right way.
I agree.
I
So,
agree.
so a Bluetooth switch, and you can just do it with your phone.
Maybe.
And then
That's gonna fail.
Chris controls the fan.
No,
That's
just
gonna
have it turned
fail.
on. We are. I mean, it is 200 or 300 cc's larger than before with the same size cooling capacity, isn't it?
No, I put a Speed 3 aluminum aftermarket radiator in it and
Okay.
took the AC out and stuff like that to get more air through it.
Yeah.
I could probably duct it a little bit better, but I don't have to worry about that until Jersey next year, frankly. So
Yeah.
New
Winter
Hampshire, it'll be
project.
fine. Right, New Hampshire will be fine.
Like we don't
but
have
I
enough
think
winter.
realistically, it would kind of be nice to do a tune anyway, because it would pick up some power without doing anything else. And but putting
I
the
would like a
fan
little
speed
more power than
lower-
we had on Sunday, please.
Yeah,
and
well, I'm
thank you.
working on that. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I have it apart at the moment to fix that part.
So it was a fun weekend. Still recovering. I think
We
that's the
laughed a
answer.
lot. It was a weekend. We weren't so good at the racing part this weekend, but we were really good at having fun with your friends this weekend.
So much.
Yeah.
It was
so
one
much
of those.
time. So much time in the tepid tub and the flamingo.
So much time in the tepid tub.
All right.
Penguin.
Penguin, thank you.
All right. Once more around the horn before we move into our next segment.
It's all good for me.
Me too.
All right.
I love
so,
Thompson.
So despite the mechanical challenges, we're going to call this one a success.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well done.
Everything
team.
drove back on the well, no, Betty didn't drive back in the trailer, but things went home fairly close to the way they arrived. I mean, there's only one valve. Just one valve.
Just
Just
one
one
valve. All right. I'm unsure of who typed this. I am willing to take it, but
I typed
talk
it in
about-
Chris's color.
There we go.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
All right. So,
Oh.
folks, it's been a while since we've had this done properly, but now it's
Oh.
just
This is too much because I'm not sure this is well thought through. I mean, it's not like we haven't talked about it before. I was just going to suggest we talk about the heat and all the things you should and should not be doing when you are, especially when you're racing, but also considering how much the heat can really mess with you. Any initial thoughts?
Yeah. Wear a cool shirt, people.
Oh yeah.
I've talked to a couple people who didn't have one, and after they got out of the car, they were obviously not well, like seriously unwell, like mentally, physically, you name it. And also talked to a couple people who used a cool shirt for the first time and said, where has this been all my life?
Which was exactly the same reaction we had when we started with those homemade cool shirts, and then we all said the heck with it. We all bought the brand name ones, and then we started turning down opportunities to drive cars because they didn't have cool shirts. And we're like, no, I'm not doing that.
And we've refined the process since then as well with the changing of the coolers. I think that was huge. So we've done a good job with refining the process.
We've turned on a bunch of people to that. I showed a bunch
agreed.
of people.
It works so well.
The paddock cool shirt has proliferated around the
Oh my
paddock.
gosh. Oh
Yeah.
my
Egan's,
gosh.
Egan's air conditioner in a
I told
cooler.
him to sell it.
Just
sell it.
So wonderful. We all would just go over there and plug in for a while before and after
Yeah.
the car, and
So-
it was amazing.
Tell quickly what it is.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, he took a home window unit, small window unit, and took it apart, put the condensing part in the in the water of the cooler, and the outside parts, the compressor and stuff still does this thing. So it just pumps all the cold into the cold water. It gets it to like 38 degrees, and
it recycles.
he's got pumps and hoses that 4 sets of long hoses that come
They're
out of there, so he
I
can
think he
wear
said
it
they're
while he
like
walks
10
around the
feet.
garage. Right?
Literally, you can do work while you're plugged in.
It's
and there's
amazing.
4 sets, 3 or 4 sets.
it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Kind of looked like Vecna's tendrils in the upside down.
Yeah. It was
Everybody's
a
like,
really
"What?"
cool party hanging out
It
over at
was.
the
It
Egan's.
was. But it was necessary when I got out of the car and was dying.
Oh, yeah.
It was worth it.
So especially in parts of the country where you folks have weather, you have spring and fall and all that kind of stuff, your body tends to not acclimate as much as where I live out here and get thin blood. And the phrase I want you to understand that Chrissy's talking about and that Chris was talking about is insidious. You do not realize how diminished your mental state is when you are overheated and dehydrated.
Agreed.
Especially when you're on track, you're running on adrenaline.
Agreed.
Once that
All the
adrenaline
above.
stops, you're done.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I quick
and-
whipped up the signs of heat exhaustion. So look for water depletion, which is thirst, weakness, headache.
Which you won't notice in a race car.
That's what I'm saying.
true.
Because you're always thirsty and you
Yeah.
always feel kind of weak, and headache.
Yeah.
If you got that headache and you're feeling listless, you're a heat exhausted person. Salt depletion signs include nausea, vomiting, muscle cramps, and dizziness. I had muscle cramps. I had some headaches. I don't know if I had any dizziness or nausea or vomiting, but I think I was on the scale for both. And
Mhm.
I was hydrating a lot. I know the little pea color thing, you know what I mean? Like just got out of summer camp where you had to check that, and
Also,
never
half
had. Yeah.
half the problem is you had to pee in the first place. So that was the other problem was that you're not drinking
All right.
enough. You didn't.
So stay cool, folks.
Yep. And this goes for real life too. I mean, don't wear a cool shirt in real life, but
Well,
I mean,
you know,
if you could
you
make it
did.
happen.
You wore a cool shirt when you were driving the car to the track.
but that was in the race cars.
Hmm.
I needed it on Monday when I was unloading the car and it was still 97
Oh.
degrees outside. So there was that.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
Monday, I was like, I want to unpack. I'm tired.
Yep. Chris is like, don't mow the lawn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm already wet. Might as well do it. Let's get it over
I
with.
had to like clean the pool. I came home to a green pool. It was terrible.
All right, kick this pig, Jeff.
All right. So we've all heard the music. Do we have any idea what we're doing next week?
No.
No. Okay. Thanks for downloading us. We guarantee we'll have a fantastic show next week. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Everyone Racers. We'll hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even if you've never changed a clutch in your Mazda 3. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. I gave out a bunch of business cards, so if you're a new subscriber, go ahead and write into us. You can hit us up on the Facebook page or drop us an email at everyone.racers@gmail.com, or you could if you're watching on YouTube, hit us down there in the doodly doo. Like I said, gave out a lot of business cards. If you're
we're also on Rumble. Where you can find that's where you can find full episodes of our show now. Immediately, starting tomorrow. Rumble.com.
Okay,
links
there you
in
go.
the notes.
You can still text us at 484-243-0455. Send pictures of your junk to Mental. We are obviously on Instagram and Twitter at everyone.racers, and YouTube and Facebook at Everyone Racers, and Reddit at /E1R. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up, unless there is no shiny side, and then just keep those wheels down.